Kushner is on record getting loans from the Communist Chinese, which you can do all day long, but then you can't be in the administration. And so the only real leverage, and I've got the sources, I've known about this for a year and a half, we've talked about it, is Jared Kushner. You got 25 House Dems demanding Kushner's firing. Well, U.S. diplomats, British diplomats, EU diplomats, and Russian diplomats all agree relations with Russia are now worse than they were during major periods of the Cold War. And you have a former Russian spy, KGB colonel, who's lived for over a decade in the UK. He and his daughter, the Skripals, get nerve gassed. Coming out of a store, they're found on a bench. There's no evidence it's the Russians, and I'm not defending the Russians, but there's no motive. Why would they do this? And then England says, well, we think it's you, and Trump says we think it's you. And so we're going to announce all these big sanctions. That is Trump going along with the globalist narrative, and I don't think it'll make him stop saying he's a Russian agent with no proof. Here's the problem, and Dr. Pachenik and others talked about it a year and a half ago, and I know nothing against Jared Kushner. I'm not involved in the inner fightings of the White House. I've been sucked into that. I'm not going to be. I kind of defended Bannon's camp when it turned out he was one of the worst just because I was trying to be loyal to who the media told us was the libertarian in there, and it wasn't true. But Kushner is on record getting loans from the Communist Chinese, which you can do all day long, but then you can't be in the administration. And so the only real leverage, and I've got the sources, I've known about this for a year and a half, we've talked about it, is Jared Kushner and him trying to prop up his Manhattan real estate at 666. Can't make that up. So that's it. And the word is that that's the leverage they've got over Trump. And, you know, I think that there's not real evidence of corruption by Kushner because he was getting some of these loans before they got into office. But now that it's ongoing, it could bring down the whole operation. And you got 25 House Dems demanding Kushner's firing. That was yesterday. So he could still have Kushner around. Kushner could still be an envoy or something, but unofficially. But it's a real soft spot that they've actually got a point on. So nothing else is real. Trump has fired all the lobbyists. He's lost hundreds of millions of dollars running and spent his own money and been persecuted and done a great job. But he is very loyal to family. And Kushner reportedly does help a lot and get a lot of stuff done. He's a very smooth guy, reportedly, behind the scenes. So there you go. That said, ladies and gentlemen, Drudge is reporting that Chief of Staff Kelly next on the chopping block. Saudi Crown Prince, Iran leader, like Hitler. And then, of course, the big Russia news that Trump has announced these massive new sanctions. And it's 10 times anything, I've looked at the numbers, Obama ever even talked about doing. And CNN goes, Trump administration finally announces Russian sanctions. We're going to go over all of those. It's unbelievable. Meanwhile, let's look at Mueller. Mueller witnesses convicted pedophile with shadowy past. Oh, well, you hurt the pedophile's feelings. Maybe you should be sued. That's how it works now. But that's a Sacramento Bee, you see. If we looked at the records and said it, we'd be sued. But Mueller witness is convicted pedophile with shadowy past, the Sacramento Bee reports. Yeah, that's the type of folks that they're getting to testify that are totally compromised. And they, again, found no Russia collusion. They found process stuff like 10 years ago, you may not have paid your taxes exactly right. You're facing 300 years, Manafort. But if you roll over and plead guilty like your assistant, no prison time. And Manafort's like, I didn't do anything. So this is a mess. And then we've got other even huger news. They found election fraud.
You know, someone very profoundly once said, many years ago that if fascism ever comes to America, it'll come in the name of liberalism.
You're a white man! You're a white man!
If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.
We are transferring power from Washington, D.C., and giving it back to you, the people. Americanism, not globalism, will be our credo.
This is the heart of 1776.
Yes, I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
Huge nationwide protests erupted once again on President Donald Trump's second weekend in office.
When you open your heart to patriotism, there is no room for prejudice. When America is united, America is totally unstoppable.
Donald J. Trump is now President of the United States.
And most importantly, we will be protected by God.
From the front lines of the Infowar, it's Alex Jones.
Oh my goodness, poor white people, please, stop.
Make no mistake, we've made some major gains against the globalists, but they're striking back all over the world. Now more than ever is the time to get prepared with the highest quality emergency supplies across the board. Medical supplies, emergency supplies, communications, tactical, it's all there, and we're adding more and more every day of the very best products out there. So go to fortifiedsupply.com today to not just see the great products we offer there, but links to some of the other great sponsors that we have as well. That's fortifiedsupply.com.